Hey friends, hope you're doing fine. Today I'd like to share with you a new way of web scraping in Python which makes things really easy. So if you have some experience with web scraping in Python, you probably have used some libraries like Beautiful Soup or let's say Selenium or also Scrappy for instance, which is also really powerful but not that easy to apply. Now here there's a new library which I discovered recently which is called Pi Scrappy. Now, in order to install it, you just run the pip install Pi Scrappy command. If you do it in Jupyter Notebook, as I do here, you need to put the exclamation mark in front. Otherwise, if you go to the pip folder in your Python installation folder, then of course you can simply run pip install Pi Scrappy. Now, as soon as you've done this, you basically can now use the library. I already did this, so I can simply import, in this case, Pi Scrappy as PS. So the abbreviation itself here doesn't matter, you can call it whatever you like, but if you run this line you should not get any issues, and let me execute it. You can see that this works fine. So far so good. Now let's explore what this Pi Scrappy actually provides us. So if I run ps dot and take a look at what's available in here in the module, I can take a look at that. You find a little information here, but let's actually maybe search for something. Let's go with E, and there it is, the Ecommerce Scraper. So various scrapper options in Pi Scrappy. You find more information in the documentation, but there's one, for instance, for e-commerce, there's one for news, for Wikipedia, and also for social media, for instance. Now, let's say we are interested in this one here, the Ecommerce Scraper. So let's say our scraper is equal to, and then we instantiate the class. This is a class, so let's use two parentheses here, and then we can execute this. And now we have our scraper object, and this object can be used now in order to scrape data from different sites. So to show you this, I can simply call scraper dot, and there are basically three options we currently have in this Pi Scrappy library, which is Alibaba as a source. We can use Flipkart, which is, I think, Indian, an e-commerce provider, and there's also Snapdeal. And you can see these three methods here, and yet all you need to do is simply select one of them. So Flipkart, for instance, let me tick this option, and then let's see what we need to enter here, because basically we only need two criteria. We need the product name and the number of pages. And then what it does, it tells you here basically, it helps in scrapping Flipkart data. So name, the price, and so on for specific items. So for instance, if I'm searching here for, let's say, a graphic card, and I'm searching for NVIDIA, and I want to have a GTX. So that's what I'm looking for, that's the product. And then I need to specify the number of pages the scraper should go through. Because, as I said, if you're familiar with other libraries, it's quite painful actually to scrape through various, let's say, pages, because you need to identify, okay, what is the link to the new page and so on. Sometimes it's easy because it's can be directly changed in the URL, but sometimes it's more difficult. And here, this Pi Scrappy library allows us simply to enter here the number of pages. So let's say I only want to have 2 pages in here, and then I can basically execute this. And what it does is it returns a data frame, so pandas data frame. So I can also save it actually, and let's say this is my Flipkart is equal to, and then I can execute this, and I can run it, and then basically I store the data frame based on my search criteria and the number of pages in the Flipkart here in this object. And now if I take a look at my data frame, so Flipkart, and execute this, then you basically see what you get here. So you get a complete pandas data frame having the name, and you can see here, this is all related to NVIDIA GTX. So it could be a graphics card itself, could also be a laptop, for instance, here, or certainly also a computer, where something mentioned in here. And you can see the current price, you can see the original price here in the Indian rupees, and you can also see a description and also a rating in case there is one. And of course now you can filter this further down to your specific search objects, and also maybe based on the ratings or anything else. Of course, there's a few additional things we need to do for pre-processing. For instance, you probably want to get rid of the none here and want to convert this rating, for instance, into a number before you can sort it properly. And also other things For instance, also the original price here currently probably also is not the right data type, but you can easily check this if you simply call for Flipkart, and then .dtype. Dtypes, I think it's right. And if you execute this, you see that currently all of these are objects. So obviously you need to convert this, for instance, into a numerical value first, which probably means that you need to remove the currency symbol and also maybe the none here and so on. But to get the data itself, the web scraping part was quite easy. And just in case to show you also another one, so let's say we are interested actually in an Alibaba scraper, we can do exactly the same with a scraper object, but we simply call instead of Flipkart scraper the Alibaba scraper. So if, for instance, I say, let's say Baba is equal to, and then I'm using my scraper object again, dot, and this time I'm using the Alibaba scraper in here. And the way it works is exactly the same. That's the beautiful thing here. So I can search here for any kind of object. Let's say I'm searching for headphones, and then I want to just get 2 pages again. Of course, you can use more pages, but then of course the execution will take a little bit longer. So for now, I think that's fine. I can execute this, and this time we are scraping Alibaba, which is also quite a lot of search results properly. And then we can store, in this case, the first 2 pages here in the Baba data frame. And of course, we can also call this directly, let's say Baba, and execute this. And then you see this time we got Alibaba here. And we can see the name here of the product. So various headphones options. You can see the price, sometimes price ranges, the number of items, the description here, ready to ship, and so on, drop shipping option, and also a rating in case there is one. Currently, there are none. But of course, could be also other products where you can find ratings. And yeah, that's it. That's an introduction to web scraping made simple. I think this is the right title because just take a look at it. It's really quite easy. All you need to do is install the library. Then you create a scraper object, for instance, for e-commerce here. And then you simply scrap Flipkart, Baba, or also the Snapdeal page, I think was the third one. And then you get your data frame. And this data frame then can, of course, be further processed, right? And you can also use it to do any other kinds of things. For instance, using as a source, either for buying things, of course, but also for machine learning, for instance. If you just think of, well, you get a description of the product maybe, and then you get a rating, and then you can maybe do some kind of, any kind of machine learning projects regarding to, for instance, predict the rating based on certain kinds of criteria in here, or the price based on certain kinds of names and objects and text values in here, right? So various options in here, of course, how to use this data. This, of course, up to you, to your personal, settings. But to scrape the data, I think you have seen that it's quite easy. And I just want to encourage you, try this out yourself. Okay? So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you want to see more on Python, then please let me know, give this video a like, and also please consider subscribing, because the more people subscribe, of course, the more videos I can produce, and also hopefully help you with your data science, data analysis, and whatever kind of journey you're on, okay? So if you got questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, stay healthy, and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.